I thought I might make a quick video. A lot of people want to go to Japan, especially after the internet became mainstream. I find a lot of people are being able to kind of be exposed to things that they wouldn't have before. Things like anime and New Japan Pro Wrestling and, you know, things of that sort. Japanese dramas. And I think there's a lot of things that people don't really know. Kind of myself included, I think. I've always been a huge fan of Japan. There has not been many things I've been exposed to that I didn't like, but after living here, I have a laundry list of things that I don't like. But I would say, if I had to think, what was the biggest thing, the biggest problem of Japan, I would say for me, is that there's just so much people here. And, you know, some people might like people. And it's really not about whether you like people or you don't. It's what comes along with there being so many people in the country. And for example, everything is a competition when you live in a country where there's just so many people. And, you know, just to put it in perspective, Japan has about 130 million people. America has around 315, you know, in the 300s. So Japan has, you know, more than half the population of America does. But compare the size of America to Japan. Japan is smaller than most states. Or, you know, at least it's smaller than the biggest state in America. So if you really imagine what that would look like if everybody in America was packed into Texas, or 50% of America, was packed into Texas, and you would have an idea of what it's like to live here. And it's not only the population, it's that the mindset of East Asia in general. It's just wanting to be the best, having the focus on work, having the focus on education. And that's fine, but you have that mindset, and then you added on the fact that there's so many people thinking the same way, so many people wanting to have the best life. So it becomes a competition with everything. If you want to, you know, I'm trying to think of some examples, but it's just really everything. Everything is a competition. Like, if you're a foreigner, chances are you want to go to like a bar or a club. Well, oftentimes in Tokyo, you have to like wait. You have to be in a line, or you have to stand in line or wait your turn, because it's just too many people with everything. The men oftentimes have to just pay to go into a club. Just to go into a club or a bar to spend money, you have to pay for the privilege. The metro systems, they're just so, you know, packed with people that's the reason why the Tokyo, and actually all of Japan, that's the reason why the whole metro system is so advanced, because there's just too many people that you have to make more metro lines and train lines, disconnections. And if you compare it to even China or Shanghai, their line system is much smaller than Japan's, much smaller than Tokyo's or Osaka's. It's a lot simpler and it's more crowded, but because Japan's population is even more dense than China's, by the way, that they have to just have so many more lines. And well, the point is, because of all of the way that the Japan's train system is that it's just so expensive. To put it into perspective, yesterday I went through one of the stations, and it was about $6, 600 yen, just to go through the machine. And then of course you have to pay the added amount for how many times you have to transfer or how many stations you have to go to. It's $6 just to start. And now Shanghai and Hong Kong, they're pretty crowded places too, but I've never paid that much less pay that much just to start. Usually with other parts of China or other parts of East Asia, you pay based on how many stations you use. I think New York is this way too. I'm not sure about that though. It's been a while since I've used a train in New York. But, that adds up over time. A lot of people in Japan need to use the train every day, or 5 days a week at least. Could you imagine how much that would cost you? $6 a day minimum each way, so that's $12 a day minimum. Multiply that by 5, multiply that by 4 weeks. That's a big chunk of your paycheck for most people, especially if you're an English teacher. A lot of people have, their school might pay for their, not a lot of people I would say, because I know a lot of Filipino people, they don't have that. But even if you have your workplace pay for your transportation, that doesn't cover weekends. It doesn't cover like just tourism or general things you want to do with your time. And another problem with there being so many people, as you can probably see for yourself based on this video alone, look how close everything is together. Look how on top of each other everybody is. See those houses over there? They're almost touching one another. Now, it looks kind of funny, and you don't really notice it too much when you first come here. But after a while, it's like when you work so hard, you work 5 days a week, you work these crazy schedules in Japan, you want a break from people sometimes. You just want to get away. And there's really no way to do that here. Like right now, I'm not even in Tokyo. I'm in this is considered to be a quiet part of Osaka. Could you imagine coming home from a hard day, and this is what you have to this is how you get home, going through all this? There are more rural parts of Japan, of course, but this is pretty rural for a major city like Osaka or Tokyo or Kyoto. And that's probably where I would say more than 90% of foreigners live. There's not many jobs other parts, or maybe you want to go to those 3 big cities because there's the most things to do there. There's lots of reasons. So for 90% of you, at minimum, this is the kind of life you're gonna lead. And for me, it's just tiring. You don't really get to see nature. You don't really get to have quietness and just look around you and enjoy life. Because here you always have to deal with cars honking at you and stopping at stoplights and waiting for the light to change and worried about if somebody's going to hit you from behind on a bike. It's like you never really get opportunity to just relax and take it all in. And that really sucks. That's how I feel. Maybe some people don't feel that way. There's always a group of people who love living in the city. But I find that people who live in the city really aren't happy. They think they are. They want to be. That's why they come to the city. But they don't look happy. And then you look at people who live in rural areas of the countryside. They generally look happier. I don't know. The houses do look nice, for sure. But that's another problem when there's so many people. The amount of space, yard space, house size, it's very limited. Would you really want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for a place to live that's about the size of a apartment building in most places. Not me. I live in China. I live in Shanghai right now. I'm just here visiting. But I noticed that even houses in Shanghai, apartments in Shanghai, are much bigger than most places in Japan. And that's coming from a country that has more people than any other country in the world. And even relative to the economy, an apartment is much more affordable in China than Japan. In Japan, I paid about $800 US dollars for an apartment. That was not including any water and utilities and whatnot. So $800 base compared to an apartment in Shanghai that I have now, which is easily 4 times larger than the one in Japan. But my rent was half of what it is in Japan. So half the price, but 4 times larger. And Shanghai, keep in mind, is one of the most expensive cities in the world. That just shows you just the difference in price. Now, there are a lot of great things about Japan, of course. And for many people, the sacrifices that you make coming here is enough. You know, the benefits outweigh the cons for a lot of people. But I would say for most people, that's certainly not the case, because last time I checked, I think I was told around 90% of foreigners who come to Japan intending to work or stay or whatever, 90% leave within the first year. Because there's always something that just makes life intolerable here. Whether they don't like the work schedule, they don't like being an English teacher, maybe they miss their family, whatever it may be. I feel like a lot of it does lead to the problem with just too many people. So I'll end the video there. More videos to come on Japan. Certainly while I'm here, I'll try to cover more topics. Catch you guys later.